Hello, and welcome to the 7th episode of Library in a Nutshell. Today, I'm going to discuss about the index. So let's get started, shall we? So what is index? Well, it comes from the Latin word indicare, meaning point out. It also refers to an ordered list of terms or keys that guides a user in locating recorded information. So index, well, it is essential for librarians. We have to make an index, especially in the newspapers that most libraries do have. They have to find they have to find they have to find what specific indexing, and of course theses as well, and of course other library materials. So of course, good index that is no hurdles, no false path, and no irrelevant materials. Next, it refers to the process of creating an index, that is indexing. The steps of indexing are analyzing content, expressing the aboutness, and and indication the location of the information. Next, it refers to a person who works for the task doing the indexing, that is the indexer. The purpose of an indexer are minimize the time and effort in finding information and maximize the searching success of user. So the evaluation of index are reader and appropriateness. So so that is the definition of the index. So let's move on to the index, which is the parts of the index entry. So for starters, that is the main heading, the subheading, the double postings, locators or page reference, cross-reference, and the length and type format. So that is the parts of the index entry. Also, as part of the indexing, it refers to the reader to a different term expressing the same concept, that is C. Examples: uh, Clement Samuel C. Mark Twain, or in the library jargon, that is Twain Mark. So last name first, then the first name. Then aerobics, C. Exercise. And there are forms of C, that is printed and electronic. And then what are the medium of index, you may ask? Well, printed, microform, electronic media, and braille. So braille is actually the device that aids people without vision to read by touching it. Next is the keyword index. There are three types: KWIC, keyword in context; KWOC, keyword out of context; and KWAC, which is keyword alongside context. So keyword in context, KWIC; keyword out of context, KWOC; keyword alongside context, that is KWAC. Right? So that is the keyword index. Then what is the product periodicity of the index? One-time close-end indexes, continuing open-end indexes. Those are the two periodicity of the index. Next, the methodologies for indexing are standalone, embedded, tagging, keywording, automated, free text and weighted text, and controlled vocabulary. So process and procedures of indexing are manual, which is involving handwritten, and automated, that involves a computer with the special software that makes the index. and and the indexing that comes with principles. Well, the principles of indexing are exhaustivity, specificity, and consistency. Okay. So now we're done with the entire definitions of the types of C and index. So let's move on to the locators for periodical index. So it is different than the ordinary index. So periodical index that involves that involves uh, that involves some different parts. So what are the locators for periodical index, you may ask? Well, author, title of article, title of periodical, volume number, issue number, inclusive pages, and complete date. That is used in newspapers and magazines. Next, the same word with different meaning, that is homographs. Next, it was created in 1981 as a guide to 8 published newspapers, or 8 locally published newspapers. That is indexed to Philippine newspapers. What is FIFO, you may ask? Well, FIFO, which is Filipiniana index to foreign entries. Next, we're done with the index. So basically, before I'm going to mention the abstract, so let's move on to the side notes about about the about the facts about the library, especially in the index, of course. Well, so let's start with the history. So, Bible from the 17th century, canonical law from the 11th century, and references serve as guides to the text that is from the 15th century. Printed books indexes appeared, and development of medicine were aided through medicinal texts, that is in 1460. Next, first biblical coordinates was published, that is in 1544, and complete concordance of the Holy Scriptures, that is in 1737. Then in the 19th century, Index Society was formed in London, that is in the year 1877. And then in 1878, Henry Benjamin Wheatley wrote what is an indexer. And then in the 20th century, prior to that, the indexer that is usually hired by men. But now, in 1957, women began to enter the field, especially working as an indexer, and of course the librarian as well as a whole. Okay, so now I mentioned the history of index. Now let's move on to the abstracts, which I'll be discussing in a later episode. So I hope you learned something about the indexing. So I'll see you soon.